Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time, On Target Morning Brief. Welcome to Monday. Hope you had a fantastic Mother's Day weekend. Hope you had a fantastic weekend overall. We have an exciting week coming up in the market this week because there's some of my favorite names and your favorite if you're invested with me, because you have probably quite a bit of money sitting in these holdings, is some high-profile earnings. So we have RBLX coming up this week. We have Palantir. RBLX is later today. Palantir is tomorrow. Coinbase is Thursday. Coinbase has been nothing but a house of pain since its IPO. They overpriced it. And so far, everybody in it is down, right? Because it keeps dropping every day. So I said we've been waiting for earnings. Well, earnings is Thursday after the bell. So major decisions will need to be made after the earnings and the earnings call. So that's going to be our topic for the day. The question of the day is, what is the trifecta of earnings? Why is it a big deal? And what do they announce during these specific earnings events to be able to get information out to everybody? So kind of how that works, we'll cycle back to that once we get to that portion. As far as the longs and shorts are in the room, I do think the longs are a little better there with Party City and BioNTech. So that's why we focus on, but there's a couple shorts if you prefer to short this morning. And with that, if you're catching us on replay, thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe and the notifications bell. If you want to catch us live, $25 will get you into the room for the month. What you don't see is a chat window and a Q&A window for folks to be able to communicate with me, and I'll answer any question you throw up out there. All right, with that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, welcome back, everyone. Here's our lineup card for the day today, Monday, 10 March. Make sure you have your Q&A window and your chat window all set up. For standard disclaimer applies. This is a financial education presentation. You have to do your own due diligence before acting upon anything anything you hear in this presentation. Full information is available at ototnow.com. I do have a new light I'm working with this morning, so if anybody has any feedback, good or bad, let me know what you think of the display. All right, our mission objectives today: capital appreciation, grow our money, protect our money, or live off our money. It's all about growing our money, unless you think maybe it's about protect our money by getting out of these names if they miss earnings. But when you have an earnings event, that's what we're talking about, high profile earnings, right? And for RBLX and Coin, this is going to be their first earnings. And then Palantir, it's not their first, but certainly there's a lot of people paying attention to that earnings because it sold off so hard. So we're going to take a look at those charts and kind of show you what I think. Two of them are buys, in my mind, a clear buy, and two of them are wait and see. And of course, Coinbase has been completely on notice. I just can't accept any more losses in that name. So we will blow out of that if they miss earnings and the stock gets hit. It's just we got to. You can leave early. I think it's premature to leave early. Let's wait for the verdict and then adjust the portfolios as necessary. Okay, so here's the four names we're going to take a look at. These three you're familiar with. Trade Desk you may not be familiar with. I've been in Trade Desk for a long time. I do have some friends and clients that are in the social media business, like quite a few. So I feel like I have expertise in this area, but I also may get too close sometimes because folks always say, well, I work at, say, Intel, for example. So therefore I know all the inner workings and I'm much smarter than the market. And to that I say, well, you got to invest with the market, and nobody's as dumb as all of us, right? So none of us is as dumb as all of us. So yeah, you can be too smart sometimes. So I don't know, Trade Desk crushed earnings and they're selling off, and I just can't figure out why, other than the fact that I'm about to buy a ton of it in about 30 minutes from now. So we shall see, right? All right, the question today, what's the trifecta of earnings? We already talked about that. Flow will be long, short, open, short, long. We'll take a look at the market review, come back, look at some headline review, including the Kentucky Derby winner. Uh-oh, oopsies, may not be the winner after all. Some questions have been asked about that since people know I follow the Derby. Yeah, betting tickets go final for any event. So whether it's Kentucky Derby, any horse racing, any football game, elections, Miss America pageant, whatever it is, if somebody gets stripped later on of their crown, they do not go back and re-wicker any tickets. There's no way to do that. Well, yeah, you are, but Apex is throwing out to be mad if you bet the second one, Mandolin, right? Well, it didn't win, right? I know you're saying the first one cheated, but there's no way to know that the day of, right? So anyhow, it is what it is in that case. I would be more mad, who cares about 25 to 1? I don't want to say that. That's probably, 25 to 1 is nice, but how about if you're sitting on a trifecta or superfecta or something that now hits? It's like, oh crap, now you're talking 5 or 10K right off your $1 to $2 ticket, depending on how you played it. Again, not about a gambling show, and I don't gamble. I don't even bet the Derby, other than normally we have a party where we'll have kind of an in-house thing. But anyhow, tickets are final. You don't have to go get your Mandolin winning ticket out of the trash because it's still worth nothing. And what's interesting is since the results are final, you have, I think, 60 days to collect a horse ticket. Like a lottery is like a year you have to collect it, sort of thing. Well, even if the horse is stripped, I'm blanking on the name for whatever reason, even if the Derby winner is Spirit, you can still cash that winning ticket, right? Even though he didn't win, but the ticket's a winner. But anyhow, enough on gambling for this morning. All right, headline review, long-term investments. There's the 4 we're going to take a look at. We'll get into short-term execution. I have 2 longs and 2 shorts up in the chat. Somebody just popped in, so let me give you the chat again. So 2 longs and 2 shorts there. And there we go. Contingencies and academic resources are standard. All right, when you're looking at the market last week and this is why we look at this all the time. So, we had 7 days, it looks like at a quick glance there, with a, kind of a sell-off, that red candlestick, where red candlesticks means wherever the market opens, it closed below that level. Well, we had a pretty nice day Thursday and pretty nice day Friday. Gives us a little bit of momentum coming up here. But in the market, you got to realize that, I'm heavy into tech, so therefore tech portfolios are getting hit, right? So the market's bouncing off of new highs. Why is my portfolio down, Steve? Well, I'll tell you this exactly. It's down because we're heavily invested in tech. So that brings, tech can have its own little party going, and that works both ways. It can have a party going higher or a party going lower, and right now it's going lower. It's called a rotation. If you hear the talking heads talking about rotation of value, rotation out of tech, well, guess what? That's water. Think water in a glass. It goes sloshing out of the tech glass, and then it comes sloshing back in. Which reminds me, if you heard the name Kathy Wood, she's a famous tech investor, ARK Investment CEO. She's been, she was untouchable for a while. Well, she's down 30% in the past month, which literally she took to the air and said, I don't care because we're holding for the long term. So I don't want to be quite as crass to everybody and say you don't care, but you don't care. She hit me up on Facebook yesterday, right? No, it wasn't her. So I immediately challenged if you ever get these scams on Facebook where it's somebody that you think that might actually be reaching out to you, have them send immediately request, go give me a 5-second video clip of you saying my full name. Right. Obviously, they can't do that if it's a scammer. It's a real person, like whatever. There was a Ben Affleck story that was kind of out in the news last week where he did that. But anyhow, that's how you deal with a scammer if you think that's somebody that's trying to contact you. All right, let's take a look at the charts. Here's the 5-day we talked about. So the 5 dark blues are the days of the week. Last week's a little bit downer on Tuesday and then kind of straight up since there. So again, bouncing off of new highs in the Dow and the S&P 500. NASDAQ has been challenged and NASDAQ is in the red today. All right, setting up for our trading. Here's the screens. We'll come back to these here in a minute. Here's this trade desk over here that I was talking about. I like it long. Certainly, it's not fitting our day trading philosophy at all, but it's selling off pretty hard. But I like it long. We'll talk about that here in a minute. All right, let's go to CNBC.com right now. We'll take a look at the futures. Come back to this screen, and that's not the right screen, this screen. Refresh quite a bit here. Let's, all right, so there we are, mixed a little bit with the NASDAQ down. Europe down across the board slightly though, nothing major there. Pretty much up in Japan and China. There's our numbers from Friday. Nice big green day. Bonds down below 1.6. So again, inflation and gas prices are going up and home prices are going up. Period. Dot. Other than that, you don't see a lot of inflation. All right, oil. That pipeline cyber attack, we think it's the Russians. It's always the Russians, right? So I don't know if it's the Russians or not. They took credit for it. But anyhow, cyber attack on a pipeline, that'll spike your oil prices for the week. All right, gold. Remember, we were talking about gold in 1700s not too long ago. It's creeping back up towards 2000. Again, I'm not a real gold investor, but if you want to buy some, that's fine. Just not a whole huge amount. All right, 58,000 for Bitcoin. Again, Ethereum is the one that's been on fire lately. If you want to get into that, yeah, not as much down as Kathy Woods, you bet. Ethereum, again, that's kind of the latest craze. People think it has a long-term staying power. Mark Cuban's behind it in a big way. People are transacting in Ethereum now. The technology behind it is different. I don't know enough to be able to explain it, but I know it's different and it's preferred over Bitcoin is at least the story of the week. So ETHE, if you want to get into grayscale, I'm not going to touch it right now. I like our, I think Bitcoin is the best way to play it. But again, GBTC has its own issues with the 2% management fee, which I don't care for. All right, let's go back to the headlines of the week. Ethereum, we talked about that. Hey, if you didn't catch Elon Musk on SNL, I thought he did a great job for a non-professional entertainer. You know, well, I guess he does kind of an entertainer. But yeah, he was very unique, very average guy, right? I'm not average guy, average, you know, genius. I thought he did fine. And the jokes on there I thought were amazing. Now I got all the jokes because I follow him pretty closely. So it's probably the most I've ever understood in SNL from start to finish, because all the jokes I was like, that's hilarious. That's what every line. It's like, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. And I'm like, most people are probably not picking up on all this stuff. All right. DraftKings got another bump. You know, I like DraftKings. It's been selling off lately. So just, grit your teeth, close your eyes, take the punch, and move on, because the DraftKings will end up back higher. Don't worry. Dogecoin plunged 30% during its performance. People thought that that would mark the high, right? Or if we were waiting to see if it went to $1, if it didn't, they're getting out, that sort of thing. Who cares? That's trading. Have fun with that if you want. There you go. Ethereum, what is it and how is it different from Bitcoin? You read that and get smart on it. I'm not smart enough to talk intellectually on it. Okay, here you go. Here's your Derby winner we talked about earlier. Possibly coming down. You know, we're talking about earnings today. Roblox, excuse me, and Coinbase. We're not in Bumble. I do have it in the book because somebody wanted it, but I'm not in it personally. But the others we're going to take a look at here in a second. All right, you can use your Dogecoin to go Doge 1 mission to the moon. More Doge nonsense. All right, let's get into these charts here. Let's first look at Trade Desk. Trade Desk already released this morning. So here it says that it's at 660. It's not. It's at 576 over on another screen. So it's gapping down significantly. I think Trade Desk is a buy here. I would be very comfortable moving in. I have some of it. And one of the biggest reasons I feel comfortable moving in is it announced a 10-for-1 split. So what does that mean? It is going to go from, well, let's use real prices, $576 to $57.60. It's going to do that on June 15th, June 16th. Sorry, one of those days, so right in mid-June, if you will. Generally, that's a Friday where they do the split. Everything after the market is recalculated, and it looks like you're up 900%. You're not, right? It's just the next trade hasn't come down yet. But anyhow, you will get multiply your shares. When you think of Apple splitting, touchdown, right? And then Tesla split, touchdown, right? Now, those companies are a little better and well known than Trade Desk, but I just like it here. Is it expensive? Yes, it certainly is. I thought this was interesting. Look at this. You know, I like to take a look at the buys and sells of the C-suite. These are all sells. There is not one buy in here. And this is from June of, well, that says June 03. June 3rd of last year. So yeah, that's a whole year of basically nothing but selling by Trade Desk. So that's kind of a red flag. So if you don't like that, don't get in it. But I do think it's got long-term staying power. Again, it's a digital media firm. So let's take a look. I like it. The other one I like, I'll have to come back to a couple of these after open, the ones I don't like. I do like Roblox here. 64.50 was the direct listing. Most of us got in on that. If you plussed up at all, you're going to be down overall in your overall position, right? It came back down and touched below 64.50 once. It's now back down there again, and everybody's waiting on the earnings. I think that obviously people call this, you know, crack for little kids. That's we're not giving them drugs, right? But again, hooking them on video games where they can spend a lot of their Robux on things. So anyhow, take a look at it. I think it's a buy here, even though it really hasn't gone up much. I think they will crush earnings later today. We'll cycle back to the other two here in a little bit. All right, let's go over to TD Ameritrade. And that did not work. Strike one. Over to TD Ameritrade screen here. You have 4 windows in front of you. The 2 longs that I like are Party City. They had earnings this morning. You can see it down here. And then the next one is BioNTech, BNTX. And then the last one, short, not Trade Desk, but actually looking at Cody, COTY, a short, missed earnings. All right, give me a second to set up for the open. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time, On Target play of the day. Get ready for the opening bell right now. All right, we have 4 screens in front of you. The one on the left is the 1-minute chart for the S&P 500. We have Party City long, which I like the best. We have BioNTech long. They have a new branch in Singapore that they just opened. Our short of the day is COTY. I don't know what they do, but they missed earnings, and you can see it selling off hard there. I do think the market's going to go long here today, so I'm more interested in taking this Party City long. So again, we're going to wait for some selling to establish that low of the day, and then we're going to turn around and take it back high. Same thing applies over here to BioNTech. I don't like it as much just because it's run up so far, but that's what I'm looking at while we're kind of waiting for the volume to flow in. Plenty of volume, couple 100,000 shares there, 150,000 shares here, and then our short and COTY, not nearly as much volume. That's why you don't see it jumping around nearly as much. So all right, we're going to use 850. Technically it'd be 849 as the low of the day. We'll see if that holds here for Party City. And we're looking at, we'd like to get in a 10-cent stop at 859. Boy, that'd be aggressive. And I just missed it if we were going to take that. I'm still not comfortable taking this yet because this is just too much flopping around. So 20-cent spike there in a second. So you do have a lot of resistance right here. So I really like this if it holds. It didn't, so we got to let it go now and reestablish a new low of the day. So we're down in a minute 2, selling off here in the market, starting to get some of that trying to sell off going higher. So I think the market's about to flip here. Obviously, you see BioNTech already flipped. So low of the day, 830. Boy, taking it, it's tough to take it here. Not hooking me up on this entry. We're going to use a 10-cent stop. We're not going to be able to cover the low of the day is the problem. So this is not a perfect entry. 10-cent stop on, well, I don't feel comfortable taking it right there yet. I was looking at 855, but that puts us out the door at 845. That's just too close. So we're still being patient. Now, if this comes back down here again, I'm going to like it better going long. So now I can cover the short of the low of the day. So let's go. Low of the day is 830. We'll use an 840 entry. This is pretty aggressive, so don't take it if you don't like it, but 840 long, 830 is in a 10-cent stop. Unfortunately, can't look away here for a second because we're so close to that entry point. Going into minute 4, I think is where we'll see this start to turn around to the green. So waiting on 840. Market continuing down into the red. So I think we're done. I think that we're going to be good here in Party City if it comes back higher. There's 840. Let's take it long. So 840 is your entry point. 830 is your stop, which is down here. Doesn't quite cover the low of the day, but I'm comfortable with it. And we're taking this long, so we're putting the arrow long here, and we'll talk it's 10-cent stop. So our 3R point, exit point would be 870, which is even at the top of the chart. It was just there, right? That's why I like this trade so much. So there's your arrow in. Again, 840 is your entry. You can take it here, just adjust a little bit for your R units. And you got 850 as your 1R, you got 860 as your 2R, and then 870 is your 3R. So I do like how this trade was entered and set up. but doesn't mean it's going to work. We got to see what the market holds for us. All right, this would not have worked if you took that bar higher there. Anything you took would have busted back out on BioNTech and then Cody, not Trade Desk. I do want to flip to Trade Desk and see what's going on there though. Cody, again, if you took that short at all, you'd be out, and if you're in it. Otherwise, this is all profit taking. So really your entry is to wait for it up here and then take it to the downside, if you will. But I'm more curious as to what Trade Desk is doing. So let's take a look at that. Man, it's still selling off. Okay, what you don't see is the conference call. So let me see if I can find a better example. We're not in this one, so let's zoom out. So here you go. So if you look at this middle pane, you have the earnings announcement, and then generally 1 hour. See if this makes a liar of me. Yep, exactly 1 hour after that, you have the conference call. That's where the CEO gets on and tells the story. Okay, so we're at 7:30, so 8:30 at the market open. This conference call should be going right now. Now, a lot of people don't like to be talking at the market open, so they could wait just a touch to be able to have their call. But I'm interested in what the CEO is saying here, and I have no idea why this is off 20%. So, like I said, I'll be a buyer here once I'm off air, unless that conference call. And you can listen to it live if you go to tradedesk.com, investor relations. They'll have a link for the live conference call. They're a little boring. I will warn you, unless you love this stuff, but that's what's going on Trade Desk. All right, our trade is in the green, but it's just kind of chilling. I like it. I would really like to see after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red down moves in the market. I'd like to see the market start green here, and that would help our trade out. But put your trade on another screen, because we're going to go away from this and see what's going on in the rest of it. All right, there's your BioNTech up, FireEye's up. Let's see, XLE Energy's up. Again, that's largely due to the pipeline and the price of oil going up based off of the cyber attack there. Clickstream and Play a little bit, just up slightly. Mind Medicine talked about this Friday. Go back and watch it if you're interested in this. Don't buy into this unless you actually listen to what I have to say, because it is high risk. So there's where we are. We're pretty flat as far as the entry point. I have a piece of this. I may buy more. We'll see. Very speculative. So do your own due diligence. All right, let's see. There's your Trade Desk down big. It's starting to bounce a little there. It was down almost 20. C Limited, Tech Firm, Twilio, Tech Firm, BIP Shop, Chinese Tech, Palantir, ouch. DraftKings, ouch. KWeb, ouch. CRISPR, ouch. Okay. Tech, ARC-W, if you see the ARC firms, these are the Kathy Wood firms. Ouch. Pain, 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 pain. Thoughts on luck? Well, let's catch up with the the future SPAC for crack. All right. When that gets announced, we need to run for the exits. That's kind of funny. CRAK, Apex is throwing that out. All right. The CEO must have said something foolish. Maybe they'll be transacting in Doge. You're right. We're again talking about what's going on in Trade Desk there. Luckin, Berner's asking about Luckin. It's what's called a house of pain. So let's bring this back out to half a year or so. So again, our entry point's down here in the 2s or 3s or wherever it was. So, nobody's really in this trade. Everybody's still up in this trade. That's what I like on it. That makes it easier to hold when you're up. Now, if you bought in here at 10, then obviously it's not as easy to hold when you're off 30%. But yeah, you can see the ebb and flow in this name. It spikes up and then it sells off. Here was the latest earnings right here, right? So it's done nothing but sold off after this past earnings. It's a long-term story. So you don't care if it drops down, you buy more. I don't see it going below 6 because it has some resistance there. But again, it needs to get back in the niche. It's a reinvention story. I think once it gets its feet under itself, I think it just goes higher. Now, I've said that before, right? Where these big moves up, you're like, okay, I think we're in the clear, and it has not been the case. But I think eventually we'll be in the clear. So again, they're selling coffee in China to a huge middle class and coffee and trinkets, right? So I don't see how the business model misses. And now that they're not cheating, which brought them down to this $2 level from 50, I think it's just I think it's positioned very well to go forward. If you have a ton of it, don't buy more though. You just got to wait. In case I'm wrong. All right, let's go back, check on our trade real quick. Trade's right at even. So we're what, 9 minutes in. If you want to kill it, kill it. I don't have any problem letting it ride, but it's pretty close to that 8:30. All right, we'll check back on it before we go here. All right, let's go back and take a look at the other two names. So I covered Trade Desk and Roblox. I get to the right screen here. However you say it, I can't remember. Both of those are buys in my book. The ones that I would not buy any more of right now that I've bought a ton of, generally because I have too much of it, is I'm really curious tomorrow for Palantir to see what they say. I think this is a long-term hold. I think it's just going to make a ton of money. When they announced their partnership with IBM, I mean, that was a holy crap moment. I don't know if there's a I would rather see them announce a partnership with Luckin than IBM. It's like IBM, what? Nothing's gone right at IBM for what, a decade now? So I don't know. I think that's probably what killed it off. I think tomorrow, if they crush earnings, which I would expect them to, I think this is a perfect environment for them to crush earnings. Maybe people will forgive that they hitched their wagon to IBM. I still can't understand that. But anyhow, here's all the numbers. As far as if you're into that, it's not really shorted a whole lot. So there's not a lot of people betting against this name, which is interesting. But really, when you look, it's since the election, it has done nothing but sell off. And I've been adding, thinking, okay, get below 25. Let's add. Now it's below 20. Okay, I'm just going to pause on adding. Can I pull up IBM? Yeah, IBM did pop on this stupid merger, because why not, right? So IBM people are saying IBM's back. IBM's not back. 4.5% dividend, the fairly, let's say positively, you would say fairly experienced workforce. I'm thinking entitled and overpaid, a million vice presidents. If you remember Gordon Gekko and Wall Street's, 1987, who can get anything done with all these vice presidents? I mean, I know like 6 people that work at IBM and they're all vice presidents. Like what? But yeah, I'm throwing spears at IBM, but IBM has been dead money for a long, long time. So, forward PE of 12. You could say it's still undervalued, but I would say it's still IBM. And no, they haven't reinvented themselves. They did get a new CEO, which is a lot better than the last one. Jenny Rometty, if I'm saying that right, Rometty maybe. They got rid of her. She was at the helm for like 6 years, and I can't remember the new CEO's name, but it's probably down here at the bottom. If I can see it. Krishna Arvind, I'm probably not saying that right, but a lot of execs buying. You see the green here. And again, these are October buys, October, November, December, February. So no, I would not recommend IBM as a buy, but they did pop on the partnership. All right, the last one I want to talk about is the most controversial, and who knows how it's going to work. So there's your wah. That's like the last thing you want to see when your money's in play, right? Yeah, we bought here. High fives. No, low fives. We're over $100 off. We're like, I don't know. It says year to date down 20%. Seems like we're down more than that. Yeah, I don't know. You've got I was reading about some competition and Gemini, the Winklevoss twins. Yeah, right. Well, that's interesting, the direct listing price, but this is where they were going to list it, but then they got greedy. So, I mean, Coinbase is going to be the case study for all of the, billion MBA students out there, is how to get greedy and botch your own IPO. It's like, yeah, if they listed this thing in direct 250, it'd be up, right? But they didn't. They got greedy and boom, it opened up here. And basically everybody who's invested in this, unless you're a private investor in this name prior to the direct listing, you are down money. And what's the float? So 128 million shares that are up, down money, and down like 20%. not good, right? People are pretty angry about that. So we'll see. If they crush earnings, it'll be like, hey, everything's forgiven, stock goes higher, and not worry about it. But I don't know. I can't call that right now. I have more, I bought some for a lot of people. It's down for everybody. I don't know. I'm probably out of it. Unless they blow out earnings Friday morning, I'm just going to hit the big sell button. We're going to be done completely with Coinbase. So that's my take on it. Doge on their platform. I'm sure they do. I would think they would, even though I think Doge has its own platform. Since it's all made up, let's make up a platform for it too, right? Okay, let's check out. So the trifecta, I'll save that for another day, the trifecta of earnings, because I do want to get to trading here, especially with this trade desk. Got my eye on it on another screen. So let's go back to our trade real quick, and I'll close that out. So here's your trade screen. Again, we took it at 84. We put the lower stop at 83. It's held that. We're up 1R here. A lot of congestions. Market's not helping it. If the market goes green, I think Party City runs up to 870 pretty easy. If you're nervous, kill your trade. But I think that's short-sighted. There's no reason to kill this. So, all right, here's your trade desk. It is bouncing off the low here of 528. So again, I'm going to do some shopping here in about 1 minute. With that, thanks for checking in. Thanks for the chat. Good conversation there. And we will catch you guys on tomorrow. Bye.